Hey everybody, I'm back and I'm going to read you chapter 2 of The Mouse and the Motorcycle. This chapter is called The Motorcycle, so I'm hoping that we figure out why that is so significant. I was going to bring my two reading buddies with me, but they are not interested. Apparently I put them to sleep. Oh my goodness, my two girls are asleep. So it's just you and me this time, and I'm going to start. Except for one terrifying moment when the boy had poked his finger through the mouse hole, a hungry young mouse named Ralph eagerly watched everything that went on in room 215. So a mouse's name is Ralph. At first, he was disappointed at the size of the boy who was to occupy the room. A little child, preferably 2 or 3 or even 3 children, would have been better. Little messy children were always creating crumbs on the carpet. That's good for a mouse, isn't it? Oh well, at least these people did not have a dog. If there was one thing Ralph disliked, it was a snoopy dog. Next, Ralph felt hopeful. Ooh, I love that transition word that Beverly Cleary used. Medium-sized boys could almost always be counted on to leave sticky candy bar wrappers on the floor and bags of peanuts on the bedside table, where Ralph could reach them by climbing up the telephone cord. With a boy this size, the food, though not apt to be plentiful, was most surely to be good quality. The third emotion felt by Ralph was joy when the boy laid the apple core by the telephone. This was followed by despair when the mother dropped the core into the metal wastebasket. Ralph knew that anything at the bottom of the metal wastebasket was lost to a mouse forever. He couldn't climb in, could he? A mouse lives not by crumbs alone, and so Ralph experienced still another emotion. This time, food was not the cause of it. Ralph was eager, excited, curious, and impatient all at once. The emotion was so strong, it made him forget his empty stomach. It was caused by those little cars, especially the motorcycle that went when the boy made that sound. That sound seemed satisfying to satisfy something within Ralph, as he had been waiting all his life to hear it. Went the boy. To the mouse, the sound spoke of highways and speed and distance and danger and whiskers blowing in the back by the wind. The instant the family left the room to go to dinner, Ralph scurried out of the mouse hole and across the threadbare carpet to the telephone cord, which came out of a hole in the floor beside the bedside table. "Ralph!" scolded his mother from the mouse hole. "You stay away from that telephone cord." Ralph's mother was a great worrier. She worried because their hotel was old and run down, and because so many rooms were left often empty with no careless guests to leave crumbs behind for the mice. She worried about the rumor that the hotel was to be torn down when the new highway came through. A picture of Ralph. He's cute in the pictures. I don't want him in my house, though. She worried about her children finding aspirin tablets. That's like medicine. Ralph's father had tried to carry an aspirin tablet in his cheek pouch. The aspirin dissolved in unexpected suddenness, and Ralph's father had been poisoned. Since then, no member of the family would think of touching a tablet like that, but this did not prevent Ralph's mother from worrying. Most of Ralph's mother's worries were about Ralph. She worried because he was a reckless mouse who stayed out late in the daytime when he should have been home safe in bed. She worried when Ralph climbed the curtain to sit on the windowsill and watch the chipmunk of the pine tree outside and the cars in the parking lot below. She worried because Ralph wanted to go exploring down the hall instead of traveling under the floorboards like a sensible mouse. Heaven only knew what dangers might be in the halls, the maids, the bellboys, perhaps even cats. Or what's worse, vacuum cleaners. Ralph's mother had a horror of vacuum cleaners. Ralph, who was used to his mother's worries, got a good running start and was already halfway up the telephone cord. "Remember your Uncle Victor," his mother called after him. Ralph seemed not to hear. He climbed the cord up to the telephone, jumped down, and ran around to the row of cars. There, it was on the end. The motorcycle. Ralph stared at it and then walked over and kicked a tire. Close up to the motorcycle looked even better than he expected. It was new and shiny and it had a good set of tires. Ralph walked all the way around it, examining the pair of mufflers and the engine and the hand clutch. It even had a little license plate so it would be legal to ride it. Boy, said Ralph to himself, with his whiskers quivering with excitement. Boy, oh boy. Feeling that this was an important moment of his life, he took hold of the hand grips. They felt good and solid beneath his paws. Yes, this motorcycle was a good machine, all right. He could tell by the feel. Ralph threw a leg over the motorcycle and sat on the plastic seat. He even bounced up and down. The seat was curved just right to fit a mouse. But how to start the motorcycle? Ralph did not know. And even if he did know how to start it, he could not do much riding up here on the bedside table. He considered pushing the motorcycle off onto the floor, but he did not want to risk damaging such a valuable machine. Ralph bounced up and down on the seat and a couple more times and looked around for some ways to start the motorcycle. He pulled at a lever or two, but nothing happened. Then a terrible thought spoiled his pleasure. This was only a toy. It would not run at all. Ralph, who had watched many children in room 215, had picked up a lot of information about toys. He had seen a boy from Cedar Rapids throw a model airplane on the floor because he could not make the plastic parts fit properly. A little girl had burst into tears and run sobbing to her mother when her doll's arm had come out of its socket. And then there was a nice little boy, the potato chip nibbler, who stamped his feet because the batteries kept falling out of his car. But this toy could not be like all the other toys he had seen. It looked too perfect with its wire spokes and its wheels and its shiny exhaust pipes. It would not be right if it did not run. It would not be fair. A motorcycle that looked that real had to run. The secret of making it run must be perfectly simple if only Ralph had someone to show him what it was. Ralph was not satisfied just sitting on the motorcycle. Ralph craved action. After all, what was a motorcycle if it wasn't for action? Who needed motorcycle riding lessons? Not Ralph. He tried pushing himself along with his feet. This was not nearly fast enough, but it was better than nothing. He moved his feet faster along the tabletop and then lifted them up while he coasted. Feeling braver, he bent low over the handlebars and worked his feet still faster toward the edge of the bedside table. When he worked up a little speed, he would coast around the corner. He scrabbled his feet on the tabletop to gain momentum. In a split second, he would steer to the left. At that moment, the bell on the telephone rang, half a ring, so close that it seemed to pierce the middle of Ralph's bones. It rang just that half ring, as if the girl at the switchboard realized she had rung the wrong room and then jerked the cord out right before it finished. That half a ring was enough, though. It shattered Ralph's nerves and terrified him so that he forgot all about steering. It jumbled his thoughts until he forgot to drag his heels for brakes. He was so terrified he let go of the hand grips. The momentum of the motorcycle carried him forward, over the edge of the table, down through space, tumbled Ralph with the motorcycle. He tried to straighten out, to turn the fall into a leap, but the motorcycle got in his way. He grabbed in vain at the air with both paws. There was nothing to clutch, nothing to save him, only the empty air. For a fleeting instant, he thought of his poor Uncle Victor. That was the instant the motorcycle landed with a crash in the metal wastebasket. Ralph fell in a heap beside the motorcycle and lay still. That's the end of chapter 2. And chapter 3's title is called Trapped. And I have a question for you. I'm wondering if you think he's going to get caught. Do you think Ralph will get caught by a human? And if you do, what human do you think is going to catch him? Would it be Matt, the guy who fixes things around the room, the bellman? Will it be Keith, Keith's parents, the maid service that comes and cleans the rooms? Who do you think would catch him if you think he might be caught? And what will happen if he gets caught? Questions to think about. Feel free to talk back to me by recording a video of what you think might happen, or write it down on paper, take a picture of it and send it to me. You could type up your answer, or just talk about it with somebody else that's watching this, or maybe a parent knows the story and you can talk to them about it, or maybe you're watching it with a sister or brother and they can talk to you about it too, or just think about it in your own brain. Okay, we'll read chapter 3 again very soon. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.